Yes.
the whole structure. Now, one can see this reaction, materialistic reaction can end. And the next question I'm asking is that emptiness within or without? Without in the sense, it's elsewhere.
Where would it be?
I don't think it would be elsewhere, but I'm just pulling it.
Oh.
I'm just...
Well, any such thing as part of the material process. I say here and there are distinctions made within the material process.
That's right. That's why I wanted to get at.
Mm-hmm.
It is there. It is in the mind itself, not outside.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Now what is the next step? Is that emptiness, does that emptiness contain nothing? Not a thing?
Yes, well, not a thing, or thing meaning anything which has form and structure, stability.
Structure, that's right. Form, structure, reaction, actually.
It's stability and reaction.
Yeah. Form, structure, capacity, reaction, all that. All it contains none of that.
Right.
Huh? Then what is it? Is it then total energy?
Yes, movement of energy.
Movement of energy. It's not movement of reaction.
Well, it's not movement of things reacting to each other.
Yeah.
As the world can be regarded as made up of a large number of things which react to each other.
Yes.
And that's one kind of movement. But we're saying that it's a different kind of movement.
It's entirely different.
Which has no thing in it.
No thing in it, and therefore not of time. Right? Is that possible? Or are we just indulging in imagination?
Right.
Indulging in some kind of romantic, hopeful, pleasurable sensation? I don't think we are. Because we've been through all that, step by step by step, right up to this point. So we are not deceiving ourselves. Now we say that emptiness has no center, right, as the me, and all the reactions so on. It is in that emptiness there is a movement of timeless energy.
Yes, well, when you say timeless energy, because we could go over and say that we've said already that thought and time are the same. That,
yes, of course.
And then you're saying that time can only come into a material process, right?
Time can only come in material process, that's right.
And now if we have an energy that's timeless but nevertheless moving...
Yes. It's not static either,
yes,
sort of.
It's flowing, it's moving. Right?
It's moving.
But, yes, now what is the movement, you see?
So, what is movement? From here to there.
Well, that's one form.
One form. Or from yesterday to today.
Yeah.
And from today to tomorrow.
And that's, yes.
Another movement.
Yes, and there's various kinds of movement like that.
And so, what is movement? Is there a movement? I'm asking, I want to question it. Is there a movement which is not movement?
Well, yeah.
You understand? Is there a movement which has no beginning and no end? Because thought has a beginning and an end.
Well, except, you see, we could say that the movement of matter might have no beginning and no end. The reactive movement, we're not talking about either.
No, I'm not talking about that.
But you see, so it's not enough to say it has no beginning and no end, right?
we must go back then to the other. That is, thought has a beginning, and thought has an ending. There is a movement of matter as reaction, and the ending of that reaction.
Yes, in the brain.
In the brain. That there are these various kinds of movements. That's all we know. And someone comes along and says there's a totally different kind of movement. But to understand that, I must be free of the movement of thought, material, and all that, the movement of time. To understand a movement that is not...
Well, not only, see, there are two things. It has no beginning and no end, but also it is not determined as a series of successions from the past.
Yes, no causation.
It's not a series of causes, one
Yeah,
following
of
another.
course. No causation.
But, see, matter can be looked at as a series of causes, though it may not be adequate. But
Yeah, I understand.
But now we're saying this movement has no beginning and no end, and it is not the result of a series of causes, one following another without end, right?
No. So, sir, I want to understand, verbally even, a movement that is not a movement. I don't know if I'm making...
Then why is it called a movement if it is not a movement, right?
Because it's not still.
Yes.
It's not... It's active. It's
Active,
dynamic.
Yes, it's energy.
And it's tremendous. Therefore, it can never be still. But it has got in that energy a stillness. I don't
Yes.
know.
Right. Yes, the energy itself is. I think that we have to say that the ordinary language does not portray this properly, convey it properly. But the energy itself is still and also moving, is what you're saying.
Yes, but in that movement, it is a movement of stillness.
The movement of stillness. Right.
Does it sound crazy?
The movement can be said to emerge from stillness. And fall back into stillness.
Stillness. That's right. See, that's what it is. So that is, we said this mind, this emptiness is in the mind. That emptiness has no cause and no effect. It's not a movement of causation. It's not movement of thought, time. It's not a movement of material reactions. None of that. Which means, is the mind capable of that extraordinary stillness without any movement? And when there is so completely still, there is a movement out of it.
Yes.
It sounds crazy.
Well, it needn't sound crazy. I mean, in fact, I think I mentioned before that some people have had this notion in the past. Such as Aristotle, we discussed in.
Oh, I didn't know.
He talked about the unmoved mover. That is the way he tried to describe God. Do you see?
God, no, I'm not describing.
We don't want to describe God, but I mean, but some sort of notion similar to this has been held in the past by various people. But since then, it has gone out of fashion, I think.
I think out of fashion. Let's bring it into fashion, shall we?
I'm not saying that Aristotle had the right idea. It was merely that he was considering something somewhat similar, but probably different in many ways.
Yes, but was it an intellectual concept or an actuality?
This is very hard to tell because so little is...
Therefore, we don't have to bring in Aristotle.
Well, I really wanted to say that, to point out that it wasn't crazy, because at least other very respectable people have
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad to be assured I'm not crazy.
Because you did ask if it was crazy, you see.
And is that movement out of stillness, is that the movement of creation?
Yeah.
Hmm? Not the creation which the artists and the poets and the writers and all painters call creation. To me, that's not creation. That's just a capacity and skill and memory and knowledge operating there. Here, I think this creation is not expressed in form.
But yes, well, that's important, because usually we think creation is expressed as form or as structure.
Structure, yes.
And now this word, then this is difficult. See, what does it mean, right?
We have gone beyond being crazy, so we can. Would you say, sir, this movement, not being of time, is eternally new?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, it's eternally new in the sense that the creation is eternally new, right?
Creation is eternally new.
Right.
See, I think that's what the artists are trying to find out.
Well, yes, that's true, yeah.
Therefore, they indulge in all kinds of various absurdities. But to come to that point when the mind is absolutely silent, absolutely again,
Well, yes.
completely silent, out of that silence there is this movement which is always new, eternally new.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment when that movement is expressed.
Yes, well, the first expression is in thought, right?
That's just it.
And that may be useful, but then it gets fixed, right?
Yeah.
Then it may become a barrier.
I was told, you see, once by an Indian philosopher, Indian scholar, that before they began to sculpture a head or of a god or whatever it is, they had to have deep meditation, go into deep meditation. And when at the right moment they took up the hammer and the chisel.
To have it come out of the emptiness.
Emptiness.
Well, there's another point. You see, the Australian Aborigines draw figures in the sand, and
yes,
so they not permanent. Right?
Yes, that's right.
See if our thought could be looked at that way. See, the marble is already too static.
Static,
it stays there for thousands of years. So although the original sculptor may have understood, the people who follow see it as a fixed form, you see that.
So what, next thing is, what relationship has all that to my daily life? What way does that act through my action, through my ordinary physical responses? There are no psychological responses, because but there are physical responses to noise, to pain, to various forms of disturbances, physical disturbances. What relationship has the physical to that silent movement? I don't.
Yes, well, insofar as the mind is silent, then the thought is orderly.
Yes, but it is orderly.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting on to something.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that silent movement, with its unending newness,